Oh, now, this is a story all about how local soccer media got flipped, turned upside down. And we like to take a minute, so grab a beer so cold, and we'll tell you how we became electric gold. In White House, Tennessee, born and raised on the soccer fields was where we spent most of our days. Reading Mad Magazine and riding our bikes with a known propensity for rocking the mic. Now we're a trio of guys who are getting kinda old, cheering on the boys and goal with every bit of our soul. Screaming our heads off while drinking some beers, hoping to give Cincy and Miami something to fear. Now Evan, John and Ryan are kicking the facts about Nashville SC, and they'll never come whack. If anything, we can say the show is rare. Acoustic blue and electric gold, the only colors we wear. We pull up the goatees about 7:38, and we yell to the refs, yo home, smell you later. We look at the castle, we feeling so bold. We sit on our thrones, we're electric gold.
Hello everyone, it's Electric Gold. I'm Ryan. I'm here with John. I'm here with Evan. And we're here to drown our sorrows, I guess, after a tough weekend. Boys, how you holding up?
I'm making it. I'm still alive. No suicidal thoughts. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that one loss after 15 games unbeaten would not drive you to suicide.
You would think so, but my God, if y'all have seen NSC Facebook, there's an entirely different train of thought.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that. Evan, you doing all right this evening?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great, guys. Good to be with you. I still love this team.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, there's a lot to be happy about, and life is good. This team is having a great season, and we're not going to let this one bump in the road get our spirits down. And anyway, most importantly, we are in good mood. We're happy tonight because we're all drinking beer. And
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what you guys are drinking. Evan, what are you having tonight?
Well, boys, tonight I'm enjoying a little hippie, which is a session IPA made by our friends down at Tennessee Brew Works. It's a light but flavorful beer in the style of their Hippies and Cowboys, which I'm sure you guys have had before. It's become one of my go-to brews whenever I'm out around town, grabbing a bite somewhere, hanging out. This little hippie version is still plenty hoppy, but it's not as bitter. And, you know, we've learned over our years of tailgating and whatnot that some beers are good for certain things. Like you have walk-in beers, you might have, I don't know, fishing beers. Guys, this is a great talking beer. All right. So I'm going to be really talking at you tonight.
It's the perfect selection when you want to do a podcast, it sounds like. Great. John, what are you having this evening?
Yeah, boys, I am having a Hefeweiss beer from the Bayerische Staatsbrauerei Weihenstephan in Bavaria, Germany. This is a brewery that has been around since 1040 AD, supposedly, which makes it, let's get this correct, the Älteste Brauerei der Welt, the oldest brewery in the world, according to them.
Oh, my gosh.
The Weihenstephan Brewery, it was formerly a monastery at the site, the Weihenstephan Abbey. And the abbey was formed in the 720s. The 720s. The Roaring 20s is what they called it. I found one amazing fact when I was studying up on this beer. The guy who founded the abbey back in the 720s was a guy named Saint Corbinian. On the logo of this beer is two bears. And so I was like, I wonder why the bears. So it turns out that Saint Corbinian's symbol is a bear. And according to legend, a bear killed Saint Corbinian's pack horse when he was on his way to Rome. And so Corbinian, being a badass, didn't run away scared from the bear. He was like, all right, bear, you have to carry my shit. So he commanded this bear, and the bear carried his stuff all the way to Rome and back.
Wow.
That's according to the story.
He domesticated the bear.
He did. And there's different interpretations of this story, that the bear was tamed by God's grace, and, you know, the bishop himself, the pack saddle was the burden of his episcopate, of course. The bear's submission and retreat can also be interpreted as Christianity's taming and domestication of the ferocity of paganism, and consequently the laying of a foundation for a great civilization in the Duchy of Bavaria. So all this to say, this beer is a fantastic Hefeweizen. It has those notes of banana and cloves that you always want out of a Hefeweizen. And kids, if y'all are listening, parents and grown-ups are always going to tell you that beer will kill brain cells. And this is absolutely true. But for once in a while, you'll dig around on Wikipedia when trying to research a beer, and you'll find out something that you never would have thought of before.
So it can lead to some moments of learning then as well. I'm going to actually use just my innate knowledge of history here. And without any use of Wikipedia, note that your beer is older than the entire country of England.
Oh, yeah.
Because you say it was established, or at least the brewery was established in 1040, did you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And William the Conqueror was the first Norman king of England, but he didn't conquer England until 1066. Guys, I knew this right off the top of my head. I didn't have to look it up.
Oh, my God.
And beer did not remove that from Brian's head. That fact is in there still.
I'm drinking beer, yet I was still able to recall the year that William Conqueror took over England. And John's beer is older than that. So damn, that's an old beer. Tonight I'm drinking a relatively new beer. This is from Tailgate Brewery in Nashville, Tennessee. We love Tailgate. They're up to, I think, 9 different locations now, if you count the one at the airport.
Wow. Yeah.
They are just a terrific brewery, guys. We do not know what a gem, what a treasure we have in this city with Tailgate Brewery. They make some great beers. And tonight I'm having the Wizard's Order IPA. And the reason why I selected this one is because we went up against an absolute wizard this past weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
Most of the time, I like to just hate on our opponents, whoever they are. I don't really care, but I just have to give respect where it's due. And so drinking the Wizard in honor of Messi, it was a great game, and we'll talk all about that. But first, cheers to you, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
All right, let's get down to some business. Let's do the week in review. A big showdown was on the schedule for the boys in gold this past weekend as they traveled south to Miami to face off against Lionel Messi and company at Chase Stadium. Nashville would, of course, be without one of their more exciting players of the season as Johnny Longsleeves Perez served a 1-game suspension for the red card he earned in the previous game versus Philadelphia. In his place, Ahmed Qasim got the start, and also a surprise starter was Jacob Schaffelberg, returning from international duty and injury to take over the left wing position normally held by Alex Will. It appeared that perhaps Nashville started the game a bit timid in the face of Miami's star power, and Team Pepto-Bismol controlled the pace and possession for the opening minutes. In the 19th minute, Eddi Tagseth committed an unnecessary foul on the GOAT just outside of the penalty area, and if you've been watching soccer at all the past 2 decades, you know what happened next. Messi threaded the most insane of balls through defenders and into the far left corner just past Joe Willis's outstretched arms. Miami was up 1-0, and they certainly had momentum on their side as they wrapped up the half. But a funny thing happened on the way to Vice City. Hany Mukhtar refused to go down quietly. First, all-star Hany Mukhtar dropped one incredible pass from the right wing into the middle of the box where Mukhtar arrived just in time to head the ball into the goal, leveling the game at 1-1. And as the second half progressed, you could see Nashville taking control of the match. Their defense looked more confident, and their offense more connected. This game was a lot closer than maybe the pundits would have guessed. Unfortunately, when you play against a high caliber level of talent like Inter Miami, you need near perfection in order to secure a positive result. And on this night, Joe Willis fell short. In the 62nd minute, Willis attempted a clearance of the ball towards Jason Palacios, but Messi was charging in and managed to deflect the clearance. With hardly any defenders in sight and Willis falling out of position, Messi gathered the ball and struck an easy finish past a retreating Jack Mayer who was trying desperately to save the day. It was Messi's second goal of the evening. Messi secured a tie with Sam Surridge for the Golden Boot lead, and it was his 5th brace in a row. Down 2-1, Coach Callahan made some interesting lineup changes. He brought on youngster Julian Gaines into the right back slot, which allowed Hany Mukhtar to move up to the right winger position. This is the first we've seen of that this season. Another of Nashville's up-and-comers, Matthew Corcoran, joined the midfield as well, getting some great in-game experience against top-level talent. And while Nashville showed flashes in the final minutes, they could do nothing to change the score, and they ultimately lost the first game since April with a score of 2-1. The unbeaten streak ends at 15 games across all competitions, and it was an incredible run. 2 costly mistakes made all the difference between success and defeat in this one, and as a result, the team falls to 3rd place in the East with 12 wins, 5 losses, and 5 draws, and a goal differential of plus 13. And meanwhile, Miami continues their steady rise in the standings as they now sit in 5th place in the East with 11 wins, 3 losses, and 5 draws, a goal differential of plus 14, and they also have 3 games in hand on all of the teams ahead of them. All right, boys, that's what we saw this past weekend. Wasn't what we wanted to happen. Obviously, wasn't the result we were hoping for. I'd love to get your just initial takes, what you learned about Nashville SC, what you learned about Inter Miami. Let's hear what you had to say about this game just off the top of your head. John, what are you thinking?
What I'm thinking is I'll combine this with the win over DC United in the Cup in the midweek.
Okay.
What I learned was that Johnny Perez is essential to making this team like one of, if not the best in MLS. We are obviously missing him against Miami. And there were opportunities for Ahmed Kassam and Jacob Schaffelberg, and they didn't really take them. They didn't really make the best of it. Johnny Perez, he's become like our 3rd attacking talent, up there with Sam and Hany. And a comparison came to mind this week. So when Michael Jordan came out of his retirement, I'm using quotes, in the midnight, and he came back and he won his 2nd trifecta, 3 championships in a row. You guys remember who the 3rd offensive power that helped him and Scottie Pippen was in that 2nd triumvirate?
Yeah, Tony Kukoc.
Johnny Perez is our Tony Kukoc.
Okay.
This is what I learned this week. We got to have him. If we're really going to challenge for the title, Johnny Perez is the key to unlocking everything good up there. Because obviously Hany and Sam are amazing, but you need that 3rd talented attacker up there to get the pressure off of them. And Johnny Perez is that guy for us. That's what I learned.
And I'm just going to ask this, but I think I know your answer. So basically, Jacob Schaffelberg ain't that guy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm going to go into this later, but yes.
Okay.
Schaffelberg is not Tony Kukoc.
We will put a pin in that. Evan, what are your thoughts about this past week, this game? I didn't mention the victory over DC in the week in review. That was a positive result, obviously. We move on in the Open Cup. We came back from 2 down to win 5-2. So I guess I should have mentioned all of that. But nonetheless, there's that game. There's this game versus Miami. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, my thoughts are, and what I learned was that we can compete with anybody. We can compete with the very best in this league. That game was absolutely winnable, despite us playing a team that currently has the highest points per game average in the league. And if I remember correctly from the commentator during the match, I think they even had that going into the match. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But regardless, highest points per game average, essentially best team in the league, right? And after Hany's goal, like you said, Ryan, we gained the momentum. We turned that game around. Yeah. And when that was happening, I was just like, oh, had it not been for Joe's mistake, we were going to get at least a draw out of that match. Totally winnable, though. And let's factor in that this was in brutal heat and humidity. And like you said, John, without the magnificent Johnny P. So that's what I learned, guys. I learned that we can compete with anybody.
Yeah, I believe the very last game of the season, decision day.
Yeah.
Miami comes to Geodis Park.
Yeah, boys.
Oh, wow.
So this has all the makings of a really great storyline as we wrap up the season. Let's keep our eyes on all of this. Where are they at in the standings at that point? Where are we? How do we perform this last leg of the season? But that matchup on that last day, hopefully we're at full strength. And who knows? Who knows what that's going to look like? But I'm going to bet that Geodis is going to be packed that night.
Unbelievably so, yeah.
And it's going to be a loud one. So that'll be something to look forward to. And it'll be in October. So it won't be, hopefully, as brutal of heat. If it is, then we've got some other things to worry about.
We have all other problems, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, certainly there are things to be happy about over this past week, and I'd love to hear what were your absolute favorite things. So let's do it. It's all hell yeah. Evan, we're going to start with you. What's your hell yeah for this week?
This week, mine is Hany's absolute picture perfect finish. Nahar made a beautiful pass, no doubt about that. But Hany's finish was so precise. When he first scored it in real time, I was just like, oh, wow, Nahar's pass. How great was that? Hany couldn't have missed that goal. Oh, then you watch the replay and you see what a tight window he had between the post and the keeper, and he put it just inside the post with enough power. It was a thing to behold. And I was just like, oh, hell yeah, Hany is feeling it.
It was one of those moments, as we've seen so often over the past several years, where he took the team and put them on his back. I feel like maybe many of the players may have been feeling a little bit down about the current situation in the game, but they came out in the second half, and it was just 3-4 minutes in when this happened. So he was bound and determined to reverse the course of the game, and he did. He is our MVP. As many goals as Sam may have scored, Hany is the heart and soul of this team. He's got all the goal contributions. He's our MVP. He's the stalwart, and he has been for 4 or 5 years now, for a long time.
The entirety of the franchise, yeah.
Yeah. So It was an incredible goal. John, what's your all hell yeah this evening?
I'm going to go back to the DC game. I'm going to just give it to Johnny Perez. The go-ahead goal, his run down the right wing was electrifying. It was ecstasy. It was perfection. It was everything you look for in soccer. He ran past several defenders all the way to the end line. And this is key. I almost never see wingers cut all the way to the end line anymore. And when you're able to get to the end line, you're leaving everybody that can come raid the box onside, because you're always going to be behind the ball. And this used to be a thing that people used to do all the time. What it reminded me of, if y'all remember, a Portuguese soccer player who once won FIFA World Player of the Year, one of my favorite players of all time, Luis Figo. Luis Figo used to cut to that end line, and when he finally started across, it was just like a tap in. And that's what Perez did. He ran all the way to the end line. Nobody could touch him. And then he served up a tap in for Sam Surridge. Easiest goal he's ever going to score in his life. And that's the kind of stuff that Johnny Perez can do that, frankly, I don't see anyone else on our team, and not too many people in MLS being able to do. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, Johnny, that's how you play soccer. That's how you play wing.
He was incredible. He was electrifying in that game. He scored the first goal for NSC after we were down 2-0. He opened up the scoring for us, gave us hope. And of course, that just opened the floodgates, really. We saw a brace from Sam. We saw Nahar get a goal. And then we saw Walker Zimmerman. Y'all remember him? He came in and scored a goal for good measure at the end. So it was a great game. It was it's kind of an afterthought because we're so focused on the Miami game, but we've really gave it to them in that DC game. And of course, we move on to the semifinals now in the Open Cup with a real shot at lifting some hardware this season. So that was an incredible game, and Perez was just right in the middle of it all. I would like to once again put my plea out there to the NSC executives. Please come up with whatever money you can to keep this kid on our team. I don't know if it's possible to renegotiate with LA Galaxy to get that contract in a more acceptable range. I know that it looks like, I think right about now, it's going to cost like $1 million in GAM if we wanted to keep him permanently. We don't have that, but
find a way.
I don't think LA does either. So they would be forced to do some sort of renegotiation with him as well. It's a great opportunity maybe for us to try and figure this out. He has just been incredible. We cannot lose Johnny Perez. We cannot lose Johnny Longsleeves no matter what.
No, we can't. No.
All right, well, let's do this. We're not going to enjoy it, but we got to. It's time for Oh, Hell No. John, give it to us. What's your Oh, Hell No moment?
There's two guys in particular that can be given all hell no's in the Miami game. I'll pick one of them, but I'll give it an extra hell no.
Okay.
Just defensive mistakes against Miami. And obviously, Joe Willis, the second goal, you probably don't want to kick it straight to the greatest soccer player of all time when you're goalie. He knows this. He would not argue with this. He would take it all and say, yep, that was my fault. My extra hell no. I don't think it's maybe 70 or 80% his fault, but the pass back that he got from Palacios, not great at all. I remember when the ball came straight up in the air from Palacios, I was like, oh, hell no. What was that? And that was before Joe messed up, But obviously, every soccer team in the world for the last 20 years has realized this, and we're just the newest one to realize it. You have to be perfect to beat Lionel Messi. We weren't perfect. And to me, my oh, hell no, just defensive individual mistakes. We have to clean those up if we're really going to challenge for the title like we can. And I honestly believe that we can. I think it might be time to move Zimmerman back in the starting lineup. I think he and Palacios play similar. They're both very aggressive. And then Jack Mayer is good at kind of covering, because if you're aggressive, occasionally mistakes are going to be made. And to me, I still think Zimmerman and Mayer is the best combo we got right now. And still, Palacios is fantastic depth. Still rotate him because we're going to be playing every few days. He's still going to get plenty of playing time. But yeah, that was my hell no. I was like, oh no, guys, what are y'all doing? Oh, hell no. We got to clean it up back there.
Yeah, I'd like to read a text that I sent you all about 5 minutes before the game began.
Ooh.
I said, Joe Willis better dip into the well tonight. We need his very best. Guys, I had it on my mind before the game started. I was a little bit worried about our goalkeeping. I've expressed it before on this podcast this season. Most people say he's having a great year, and I would agree. For the most part, he's been very good, but he has had his moments where he has not been so great. And I'll tell you, going back several years, I've never been in love with his clearances.
Yeah.
And that has always seemed a little shaky to me. This particular one, he had wide open field on the left if he had just gone that direction with it. Instead, he wanted to send it back to Palacios. Messi was right in front of him and
if he
made
had
him
listened
pay.
to the spirit of Gary Smith that was talking in his ears, he would take the ball 50 yards out of bounds. And,
Right. Exactly. That would have been better. All right, Evan, how about you? What's your all hell no?
Yeah, I'm giving mine to Eddi Tagseth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that foul at the top of the box, you just cannot commit fouls in that area against Miami. We've been beaten by his free kicks there before. And so I don't know, maybe, where's Eddie from? Norway?
Yeah.
Maybe the little Norwegian village he's from doesn't have television. Maybe, I don't know. He just, maybe he wasn't, he hasn't been watching soccer for the last couple of decades, like you said, but we know this from having watched this play out before. And now he has learned that difficult lesson, which is you just cannot foul Miami anywhere near the top of the box, or Messi is going to do what Messi does. So, Eddie, oh, hell no, buddy. Don't commit that foul ever again.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because Joe Willis is going to catch all the shit for this game. And it was a blatant and obvious mistake on his part, that second goal. But I don't know that Eddi Tagseth's a needless foul right outside of the penalty box, right in front of the goal, was really that much different in terms of making no sense. I'm a little bit hesitant to criticize it because Eddie's been playing this way the whole season. And he usually has a couple of these fouls in the game, in every game, but it's a part of his style. It's a part of his chippiness of getting under the skin of the opponents, and it works for him.
Yeah.
This opponent, though.
You can get away with it against 99.9% of the players who have ever lived on the planet Earth.
Right.
You can't get away with it against this guy.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one that you need to think again. So I don't want Eddie to change one thing about how he's been playing this season. He's been great for us. I love it. I love how he fouls people and he just walks away smiling.
Yeah, he's happy.
Yeah, but this particular instance, I mean, you've got to know better, as you guys say. So I agree completely with handing out the all hell no to him. All right, guys. Well, one thing that we can say is we got a goal in this game. And so that means we are up to 38 goals scored in MLS play so far this season. That's a fantastic number. We've played 22 games and we've scored 38 goals. So we're really scoring at a great clip, and we're well on our way to BJ Callahan's 50 goal mark that he wanted us to reach. So with that, John, we've got one favorite thing to share. We don't share favorite things on Open Cup games because they exist in a completely alternate reality. But for MLS games, we do share our favorite things. And so you get to share your favorite thing tonight in honor of Hany's beautiful header. What do you got for us?
Fantastic. First of all, I wanted to mention, do you guys know how many goals Austin FC has scored in MLS this year? That's the team that has a striker that was picked ahead of Sam Surridge.
Ooh.
Try to guess how many goals Austin FC has scored.
Well, I know how many. I'm looking at it, but I don't want to guess. I don't want to ruin it for you. So
I'll guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll guess 15 goals.
Exactly.
Right on the money.
Goals. That's right. They have scored less goals than Sam Surridge or Lionel Messi.
Wow.
Oh, my
And they had a striker in the All-Star game, and we don't.
What the
Anywho,
Disgusting.
let's move on to best things. It's kind of weird probably to give a shout out to another podcast on a podcast. But I feel like I have to. Earlier in the year, one of my favorite things that I mentioned was independent radio. And so I'm going to mention a thing that I love that started out as an independent radio show and is now a podcast. And that is The Best Show with Tom Scharpling. You guys know Tom Scharpling or John Worster?
I'm not familiar.
Here we go. So it started out in the year 2000. Way back in the year 2000. Can you guys remember back then? A quarter of a century ago.
Gosh.
You're hurting my feelings.
It started out on the radio station WFMU, which is the biggest and best independent radio station in America. It is a broadcast out of Jersey City and New Jersey, a broadcast to the greater New York area. I love this radio station. You can listen to it at any time. There's always the weirdest music. There is like ragtime jazz TV shows. Radio shows, sorry. Obviously indie rock, rap, electronic music. I mean, anything you can think of, there's somebody who is an expert is on WFMU. But my favorite show out there was called The Best Show. And The Best Show was a guy named Tom Scharpling. He has been a writer on TV shows, including Monk and What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire show.
Yeah.
He started this comedy show that I don't even know how to describe it. It's a call-in radio show. He gives his opinions and everything. It's like a 3-hour radio show. And it is the funniest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. All of my comedy stylings, like everything that I inhabit, comes from Tom Scharpling. It's the best thing. And it's the best show. The best thing about the show, so I mentioned that it's a call-in show. So you and I or anybody listening can call into this show and potentially get on the air and raise some topic. But what he did was an expert thing. He also has a ringer. There's a guy named John Worster. John Worster is the drummer in a fantastic indie rock band called Superchunk.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also the drummer of Bob Mould from Husker Du's band now.
Yeah.
So John Worster is, along with being one of the best drummers in the world, one of the funniest dudes that has ever lived. And John Worster calls into the show and pretends to be different characters. He has a bunch of different characters. There's one guy, John Worster happens to be from Philadelphia. So he has a character named Philly Boy Roy, which is a perfect Philly accent. You know, he goes to the Wawa, you know, and like all this stuff. And like he's like the perfect Philadelphia man. He does like a variety. Like even Gene Simmons is one of the characters that he calls in as.
Oh, great.
So this show was on the radio until 2013 or 14, I think. And then it became a podcast after that. Because WFMU, being a public radio station, he wasn't getting paid for it. So he took it to a podcast, and now he gets paid for it. But basically, every comedian that you think is funny in the last 25 years, they will tell you that Scharpling and Worster is their favorite comedy team. And I'm talking Conan O'Brien. I'm talking Fred Armisen. I'm talking Aziz Ansari. I'm talking H. John Benjamin. I'm talking Patton Oswalt. I'm talking Tim and Eric. I'm talking Martin Short, John Mulaney, you name it. All these guys worship Scharpling and Worcester. And you guys, I can't wait till y'all discover this, because for 20-something years now, this has been my favorite thing in the world. And I cannot describe how funny the best show that Tom Scharpling is. And that's my favorite thing. I've been wanting to tell the world about it for a long time. He was involved with the Upright Citizens Brigade back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like all those guys were constant friends of his. Paul Rudd. I just keep dropping names because I keep thinking of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these people, they used to like pass around tapes of his radio show, like back in the early 2000s before the internet was really good. But now, people actually can appear on his podcast or whatever. That's it. That's the best thing.
All right. You've convinced me. I'm subscribing right now as we speak.
Yeah, I already did. I just did.
And I'll start listening. Well, I'll tell you, just looking at the podcast page, what I love the most is that like most of their episode titles are in all caps.
Yes. Always.
Like,
all
that
caps.
alone
All
has
caps
me
all the
really,
time.
really loving it. So great choice, John. I can't wait to dig into this and hear these guys. It sounds like they're pretty inspirational. So awesome. Great choice. Now it's everybody's favorite time on the podcast. God damn it. It's when we get real spicy. This is the Nashville Hot Chicken Takes.
My hot chicken take is that these owners got skills to shake. Entertain the crowd and get on the field. 'Cause why the fuck not?
And John, we will get started with you this evening. I know you
All right.
have a spicy take lined up.
I have a delicious spicy take.
Let's hear it.
This is going to burn y'all's eyebrows off.
Okay.
All right. So let's set the scene. There are 5 teams at the top of the Eastern Conference that are neck and neck and neck. Philadelphia, Miami, Cincinnati, Columbus, and us. It is essential to me, if we're really going to win, and we have the talent, we have the ability to finish at least in that top 4, where we have home advantage in the first best of 3 series.
Mhm.
And to me, the only thing right now that is holding us back in that potentially getting the top 4 is goalkeeping. So my boys, I did work as an MLS wannabe general manager this week.
Oh.
And I know what I would tell Mike Jacobs to do.
Let's hear it.
I'm not going to say I'm smarter than Mike Jacobs, because the guy obviously knew what he was doing. He built a great team this year. I hope that he's on the phone with Portland Timbers FC. And here is the trade that I would make. I would dangle Jacob Schaffelberg to Portland Timbers, because I don't think he fits in with BJ Callahan's style of play. I think Jacob Schaffelberg was perfect for Gary Smith's style of play. The counterattack, where basically the other team would get so frustrated with passing the ball around and not being able to find a way through that he would be able to counterattack, a fast counter over the top. Schaffelberg is not the guy for this possession type that BJ Callahan has installed in our team. So I would dangle a trade to Portland Timbers. Portland have 2 guys out on long-term injuries, 2 wingers.
Oh, okay.
Here's what Portland has that we don't have. They have 2 excellent goalkeepers. They're both Canadian, so we wouldn't be losing any Canadians in this trade.
We would keep our Canadian quota. That's
we would
good.
keep our Canadian quota. So they have a guy named Maxime Crepeau and a guy named James Pantamis. You can't use 2 goalkeepers. So Pantamis has been starting when Crepeau was out, because Crepeau was the starter, I think, for Canada in the Gold Cup, or at least he was with Canada in the Gold Cup. Pantamis earlier in the year, if y'all guys remember, saved 2 penalty kicks against us at Geodis Park.
Yeah.
He saved one against Hany and one against Sam. Pantamis is a good goalie, but right now he's a backup. To me, James Pantamis could be the guy that gets us right in the top 4. Like that kind of upgrade from Joe Willis to him. It would make sense for Portland too, because why do you have 2 great goalkeepers when they both can't play and they need wingers right now? So, Mike, get on the phone with Portland Timbers FC. Make this deal. We can do this. We can be top of the Eastern Conference. We can be top of the league. We can win the Supporters Shield if we have top of the line goalkeeping.
Wow, interesting. And Schaffelberg is the odd man out. I would not disagree with that, particularly if we're able to figure out a way to hold on to Perez. But let's look at also what's at stake for Portland. Right now, they sit in 5th place in the West. They are tied in points with Seattle, and who's in 4th. But I guess Seattle, by virtue of the record or something, goal differential, something like that, they are 1 slot ahead of Portland. So Portland's on the outside looking in terms of a home game for the playoffs at the moment. It's also a tight race between them and LAFC. They're right in the hunt there in that middle tier of playoff teams on the West. And as you say, they're missing 2 key wingers, and we just happen to be flush with them at the moment. And also possibly getting Tyler Boyd back some point, the ghost of Tyler Boyd, perhaps.
And like you mentioned, against Miami, Andy Nahar.
Yeah, right.
Moved up as a winger because we had Julian Gaines back.
Yeah.
And that's another option for us.
Yeah, it's some more flexibility there. You're right. So, yeah, this is interesting. And so that's the guy you would peg as the Portland backup goalkeeper who has proven to be every bit as competent. And he's 28 years old, so quite a bit younger than Joe.
Right.
And he's under contract through this year and then an option for 2026. So, yeah, maybe that's it, John. We need to call some people. We need to get you in touch. You know anybody at the team we can get you in touch with?
I would love to get a cut of this if it happens.
All right. Excellent hot take. Evan, got anything for us? Can you singe our mouths any more than that?
Yeah, you know what? I think I can. I think I can.
All right,
boys.
throw
Here
it down.
is. Here it is. Guys, Alex Moyle is a better winger than either Ahmed Qasim or Jacob Schaffelberg.
Yeah, boy. Yep.
Yeah.
And kind of like John's, this is maybe somewhat conditional upon system and style of play.
Yes.
But Moyle fits this system much better, apparently, than he ever did for Nashville 1.0. Coach Callahan likes for us to press high, put a lot of pressure on the opponent, especially if we lose possession up in the offensive side of the field. He likes us to immediately start pressuring, try to get a turnover. If we can get a turnover, that's just as good as a pass, right? That's as good as an assist.
Yep.
And Moyle is great at that. He not only is able to, break up a lot of plays and help get those turnovers, but because he's probably spending less time running himself silly playing defense, since we are keeping the ball up so much, he's got a little bit more juice, I guess, to contribute to the offense. We've seen him contribute to our offense
definitely
more this season than ever. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
So he's having probably the best season of his career for Nashville. And Qasim, we've talked ad nauseum about that. I'm chalking this season up as a scratch for him. He's just going to have to get used to MLS and life in America or something. But Schaffelberg is the one so that might make it a little bit more spicy, but really he's never been the same player since he got his first call up to the Canadian national team. He's just never reproduced that excitement. Maybe that's some system, maybe that's something else, but he's no longer very dangerous. He's not very tough. He's kind of the new Hany, in terms of going down easy, and he's just really become a big disappointment. And so that got me thinking. I was wondering if you guys have any stories from your past where you were just really excited about something, but you were ultimately disappointed. And if you need a minute or two to think about one, I'll just go ahead and tell you mine.
All right.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys be thinking about it while I share this little story. Maybe the greatest disappointment of my entire life. Guys, back in 1984 or 85. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was so inspired by Adolfo Shabadoo Quinones and his role as Ozone in Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo, that I convinced my mother And, John, I think you probably remember my sweet mother back from our days together in church. Ryan, maybe you remember seeing her around school. I don't know. But anyway, my mom is salt of the earth. She is so sensible and practical. And I didn't often get the latest fads and fashions when they came out when I wanted them. But for some reason, so passionate about getting a pair of parachute pants that I somehow convinced my mother, who had never really splurged on anything like this before, to buy me a pair of parachute pants. And this was like on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, probably at JCPenney or something like that, right? I don't know how I did it, but I managed to convince her to shell out full price for a fad clothing item and parachute pants. Now, that was already quite an achievement, but you'll never guess what happened next. The following Sunday morning, church, I don't know. I must have thrown the biggest and most effective fit of my entire life because I somehow convinced my mom to let me wear my parachute pants to church. You remember, this is in 1984 or 85. Back then, we dressed up for church,
That's right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, hardcore.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know. She must have just temporarily lost her mind, or I was just such a little snot about it that she couldn't take it anymore. But somehow I convinced her to let me wear my parachute pants to church. So I get to church and I walk in like shabba-doo, baby. I'm just ready to start breaking. I'm ready for everybody. Of course, none of that happened. Nobody really cared. But regardless, after church was over, and John, you probably remember this.
Yeah, I would have been there.
You were probably there. Actually, you were probably in the sanctuary when this happened. I just don't remember who was there. But anyway, a couple hours of church, little boys are pent up with all kinds of energy and you have to get it out. So you just start playing like crazy while your parents are socializing a little bit on the way out the door, right?
Right.
So I just noticed that in that big sanctuary, there was this long strip, pretty new carpet. And I thought, you know what? I bet if I get up to full speed and then go sliding on my knees, I bet I could probably go like 20 or 30 feet. So short little chubby legs moving as fast as I can get them moving, drop down, go for the slide, hit the brakes, probably face plant. Those nylon parachute pants would not slide. Okay. So anyway, humbled, I stand up and I survey the damage. Guys, I had ripped a giant hole in the knee of my brand new parachute pants.
Damn.
Not even 24 hours. Only one time did I get to wear this pair of parachute pants.
Oh, God.
It was devastating. I've never been more disappointed. I've never gotten over it, to be quite honest with you.
I don't know
either.
There is no way that I can possibly top that story. That's amazing. Wow.
Oh, poor Shabadoo.
Yeah.
Poor little Shabadoo Evan.
I let him down that day. I let Shabadoo down that day.
Man.
Adolfo was looking down at you saying, "Oh, little man, you got to do better than that, son."
Wow. John, do you have any utter disappointments in your life that you'd like to share?
Oh, man.
Where you were really excited, but then you became disappointed?
I'll tell you the time I was most disappointed. So, guys, back in 1993, and I'm saying 93 till infinity, my favorite group of all time at that point and of now was the Wu-Tang Clan.
Sure.
I live to represent the Wu-Tang Clan. I represent the Shaolin style to the day I die. Back in 1993, their first album came out, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers. Easily the best album of all time. Banger, banger, banger! All the way through. And then after the Wu-Tang group album came out, like all the guys kept coming out with solo albums that were all just as amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The Jizza came out with Liquid Swords. Ghostface Killah came out with Iron Man. Raekwon, oh my God, you're putting me on the spot. I'm putting me on the spot. Raekwon came out with I'm killing myself. I'm just going to kill myself. Old Dirty Bastard came out with The Return to 36 Chambers. Raekwon came out with Only Built for Cuban Links. And Method Man came out with Tikal. Like all of them great album after great album, and they were all on each other's albums. So it was all, you had like 9 or 10 perfect Wu-Tang albums within the first 2 years of this band's existence. So 1997 came around, and it was announced that Wu-Tang Clan's second group album was going to come out. It was a double CD called Wu-Tang Forever. Young Jonathan lined up at Media Play in Rivergate, like waiting for the doors to open, because, my God, I had to have Wu-Tang Forever. Ran back to the car after buying it, popped that sucker in. Man, that thing stunk.
No.
I mean, like, the first, like, 10 minutes of the album are, like, devoted to some woman, like, R&B singer, like, some no-name singer you never heard of, who just kept saying, Wu-Tang motherfuckers. It's Wu motherfuckers. And I was like, all right, you guys going to get to the songs, get to the bangers or what? There's some great bangers on Wu-Tang Forever, but overall, there's like 30-something songs on that double CD. You could have made a good 4-song EP with it and nothing else.
Right.
And that was the most disappointed I've ever been. I was so defeated. But luckily for me, Wu-Tang went on to this day. They're fucking amazing. They keep putting out great stuff. Just never anything as good as Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. But that's the way life is. You're at your best when you're young, and then you get older and you have some good ideas every once in a while. But nothing as permanently awesome as when you're young.
Well, I have a theory, especially with musicians, that once they become successful and they're rich and they don't have hardship or anything to overcome, that the quality of their music suffers. As soon as they're living on easy street, it's a lot tougher for them to create really high quality music. That's my personal opinion. I've seen it over and over again.
I think you're right.
The true best of the best are the ones who can overcome their lavish riches to still produce great music. What a tough obstacle that is. I don't know that I have anything that's incredible like what either of you guys have described. So I'm just going to do a quick speed round of disappointments that I have observed in my lifetime. We're going to start with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace in 1999.
Obviously. I was waiting for this.
Not to be outdone by Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That one was also pretty bad. I loved both of the original trilogies with both of those movies, but damn, what are y'all doing? A lot of people say the Seinfeld finale. I give it a little bit more of a pass than others, but a lot of people are disappointed by that. I got a really good one though. In 2008, a long anticipated album finally was released. It's Chinese Democracy by Guns N' Roses.
Oh my gosh.
Fans waited 14 long years for that album to finally come out. And boy, was that a complete disappointment. Woodstock 99, pretty obvious reasons if you've watched the Diddy documentaries on Netflix.
Yeah.
There's some technology that I think were huge disappointments, like Google Glass in 2013. They came out with their glasses that were going to just revolutionize how we live. Nope, they didn't. They were ugly and creepy and really expensive. There's also the original personal digital assistant. Before the BlackBerry, there was the Apple Newton in 1993, and it was terrible. It was inaccurate handwriting recognition, a really expensive price tag. Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield, Part 3.
Oh, God.
So this is the one that happened in Memphis. And I actually won tickets to like a VIP party for this and went, and it was such an underwhelming fight. I don't even remember like what happened. I think Holyfield pretty much mopped the floor with him pretty quickly. And then apparently he just earlier this year was going to fight some YouTuber or something, and
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, right. So anyway, no, I know who he was. I was just pretending. Anyway, every U.S. men's soccer World Cup performance ever in my lifetime. That's also.
Oh gosh! Ouch!
Let's go ahead and write that down.
This is the year. This is the year. Remember that? How many times have you heard that? The XFL. Right?
The XFL had He Hate Me, and He Hate Me is worth the price of admission.
It's worth it. And then, just a couple of others. So New Coke in 1999. 1985. Huge disappointment. But even worse was probably Crystal Pepsi in 1992.
Hey, don't diss Crystal. I still defend Crystal Pepsi.
Seriously, okay.
I think it tasted pretty good.
Hey,
Yeah.
Make your case. Crystal Pepsi.
Well, it was 33 years ago, so I don't really remember, but I remember it being very sugary at the time, and I was like 14 or 15, and so that was good.
Okay, there you go. Also, like the Oslo Accords.
Gosh.
It was supposed to finally end any conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. And
that worked. That worked, right?
It did. It even won a Nobel Peace Prize for it, but of course it collapsed, 8 years later. So no, it didn't really work. Also, the Human Genome Project, which was completed in 2003, going to end all these diseases. It was going to be medical revolution. Yeah. Okay.
Let's all take turns dissing the Human Genome Project.
You know how we do a diss track at the end of every episode? I think that this episode we just do a diss track of the Human Genome Project. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Remember we were going to go to Mars at one point in the 2010s? That was the big thing. That was the project. We were going to go to Mars, whatever happened to that. And, Y2K.
The biggest.
It was such anticipation, and it was just nothing. I don't know how many millions of hours were spent by corporations and businesses trying to prepare for it, and it was absolutely nothing at all. So anyway, that's just a list of the things in my lifetime that were huge disappointments. And Evan, I appreciate you bringing this topic up, because it really forced me to think about what was just some of the dumbest things or the worst things that could have been great, but then ended up being just nothing. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, my pleasure.
All right, guys. Well, let's wrap things up. Let's get on with a week in preview. The month of July is a gauntlet of matches for Nashville SC, and perhaps no week is tougher than the one they are in right now. Fresh off a tough loss to Inter Miami, the team returns home to face the team nipping at their heels, Columbus Crew. Sitting in fourth place in the East, Columbus has put together a record of 11 wins, 3 losses, and 8 draws, and a goal differential of +9. The team, who looks like a bunch of Charlie Browns, is led by Uruguayan designated player Diego Rossi, who has scored 11 goals this season, and Canadian Jason Russell-Rowe has been a solid sidekick with 7 goals of his own. The teams last met on May 28th in Columbus, where Nashville eked out a 2-2 draw on the road. Columbus fields an efficient and mature team that has completed the most passes in the MLS this season, and Nashville will have their hands full on Wednesday night in Geodis Park. And then next weekend, it's Star Wars night at Geodis Park, where the boys in gold will host Toronto FC. Now, currently, Toronto sits next to last in the Eastern Conference with just 4 wins, 11 losses, and 6 draws, a goal differential of -5. There are not really any prolific scorers on Toronto's roster this season, though Theo Corbino and Federico Bernardeschi have both netted 4 each. These teams met on May 24th in Toronto, a game that saw Nashville win 2-1 on the road behind a Sam Surridge brace. On paper, it's a game that NSC should handle easily, but coming off of a tough, competitive week, the team will need to remain focused and fresh in order to finish the job. Guys, we got a couple of games lined up this week. One in particular is a real banger against Columbus. They're both at home, so we have that going in our favor. But I'd really like to know what you think's going to happen, and for that, we're going to need to break out the crystal balls, y'all. Okay, Evan, look into your crystal ball and tell us, what do you see?
Okay. All right. Let me pull out my crystal ball, the thing that never disappoints. Gaze deeply into it. And okay, here's what I see for Wednesday night, boys. I see a 1-1 draw against the Crew with a goal from Sam Surridge. And next, I see a 3-0 victory against Toronto with goals from Hany Mukhtar, Patrick Yazbek, and Walker Zimmerman.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
Love it. All right, John, your crystal ball say anything different?
Let's polish this sucker off. Let me rub that ball. Oh, there we go. All right, Wednesday. All right, Columbus, Nashville, Tennessee. This game is going to be electric sex. This game is going to be as good as MLS gets because Columbus Crew play pretty soccer and Nashville SC plays more beautiful soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on 3-2 Nashville. It's going to be a beautiful game. 2 for Sam, 1 for Hany. By the way, can you guys name the last goal in MLS play not scored by Hany or Sam?
In MLS play?
In MLS play.
Oh, for NSC, you mean? Not just across the whole league.
For NSC. Yes, just for NSC.
Wow, that's a good one.
Would it be
I can't
Perez? Did Perez do it?
Nope. It's Patrick Yazbek. Today is July the 14th. It was exactly 2 months ago.
Wow. Really?
Wow.
No one but Hany and Sam has scored an MLS play for Nashville SC at 2 months.
Wow.
Good grief.
So hopefully they keep it going Wednesday.
Yeah, right. Well, that's better than 2 years ago when it was just Hany scoring. So
Just
at least
Hany.
there's two
so
people.
At least we got 2 guys scoring now.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
So then we go up against Toronto on Saturday, and this has all the makings of that dreaded trap game because we have played 2 great teams in a row at that point, Miami and Columbus. So I'll say it's a squeaker. We're going to win 7-0 with a Walker Zimmerman hat trick involved.
Sure.
Because fuck
Yes.
Toronto, fuck Canada. We're going to beat y'all's asses. And they're so bad. They're such a bad soccer team. You mentioned Bernardeschi was their lead scorer. They've already let that guy go.
Oh,
Him and Insigne are gone.
is that right?
They gave up on them. Yeah. So you could pay me $1 million and I couldn't name one Toronto FC player at this point. So, yeah, we're going to beat the crap out of them. Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to have 30,000 people in the park sweating our butts off
Yeah.
and cheering on our boys to victory.
Wonderful. Yeah, that one should be a fun one. Let's hope we get back to our winning or at least not losing ways and with 2 games this week. So keep those points coming and keep the team up at the top of the standings. All right, guys. Well, I am nearing the end of my beer, so we got to wrap things up. Before we go, real quick, John, let the people know how they can reach out and talk to us.
Will, Electric Gold NSC, that is our handle on Facebook, on Instagram, and on X, formerly Twitter. We love hearing from y'all. Send us good vibes, send us hot takes, hell yes, hell no's, whatever you're feeling, send it to us. We'll eventually get to them. I promise.
Yeah. Be a part of the process here on Electric Gold.
Yes.
Contribute
That's
to
right.
the content that you are consuming for free.
Your job.
Ask not what Electric Gold can do for you.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you guys. It's been a fun podcast. It's been a fun evening. And I just ask everybody out there, please keep cheering the boys in gold on. Keep supporting the team. Come out to both the games this week and really scream loud. But just keep on cheering them on. And of course, keep on saying it. Come on, you boys in gold.
Come on, you boys and gold.
Come on, you boys and go!
Cities, neon lights, talking dreams on Friday nights. Electric vibes and stories told. Come on, you boys in gold. Waves of laughter in the air. Podcast pals without a care. Sharing glorious thoughts out loud. Come on, you boys in gold. Waves of laughter in the air. Podcast pals without a care. Sharing glorious thoughts out loud. Come on, you boys in gold. Electric gold.
Wait. Columbus is coming to Nashville to face off with us. Let's just go all the way in on this beige wasteland of Buckeye-branded boredom. We're not just going to roast Columbus. We're scraping it off the bottom of Ohio's sad little boot and mailing it back to nowhere. Columbus is the capital of Ohio because failure needs headquarters too. It's the biggest city in the state, and it still feels like it was designed during a particularly uninspired game of Sim City. It has all the charm of a corporate training video and the nightlife of a nursing convention. It's a city so forgettable that Siri says, "Who?" when you ask for directions to it. Columbus is what happens when you build a city entirely out of chain restaurants, vape smoke, and unfulfilled potential. Every time someone says Columbus has a great art scene, A real artist in Chicago spontaneously laughs. The most creative thing in Columbus is the number of excuses that people come up with to leave. The music scene has all the passion of an HR orientation slideshow, and if vanilla had a zip code, it'd be 43215. Your entire personality is Ohio State football. You wear scarlet and gray like it's a religion, and you lose your damn minds if someone says Michigan without flinching. Well, the horseshoe is the most exciting thing in Columbus, and that's just a place where 19-year-olds give you a false hope. Your civic pride is based entirely on yelling OH in Target parking lots. Look, being the best city in Ohio is like being the tallest kid in detention. You're not a cultural hub. You're the least depressing corner of a state that's shaped like a frown. People say Columbus is underrated the same way they describe gas station sushi. Columbus is Ohio's participation trophy. Well, listen, Columbus, you guys are cute and all, but we're going to annihilate you this week. And while I could do Toronto right now, Toronto, you're just too easy. So Columbus, when you come to town, we're going to have something special waiting for you. And it goes just like this.
My heart belongs to NSC. Nashville soccer is my home. I'll always be there for the boys in gold. No, never more to roam. Back in '96, when the league had just begun, we go up to Columbus to have a little fun. We root for the crew, especially the legend, Brian McBride. But now the soccer club leaves me feeling nothing but all empty inside. That's right, my heart belongs to NSC. Nashville soccer is my home. I'll always be there for the boys in gold. No, never more to roam. In those early days, there weren't many teams, and Columbus was our closest one. We never dreamed that the Music City would be enough of a soccer town for MLS to award us one. But here we are, in 25, and Nashville SC is near the top. We've been scoring goals and winning games. No, we're never gonna stop. My heart belongs to NSC. Nashville soccer is my home. I'll always be there for the boys in gold. No, never more to roam. I suppose I might go back someday to watch another match, but I won't be cheering for anyone like Mike Clark or Dr. Kumalo. I'll be traveling